I'm going to mess with him by finding another side
Yeah.
quest. He's already made his bed. He's about to see if he takes it or not.
Yeah, my oldest child's nearly 11 years old. My enthusiasm went a long time ago.
Welcome to Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader Strings of Fate Season 3 Episode 20, The Nexus. Battle Brothers is a game that I play now. I'm basically a full-time Battle Brothers player, and there will probably not be streams, but there's almost certainly going to be a YouTube series for it soon. So before that happens, you should get in at that ground level, maybe play a little yourself so you can understand what's happening.
Imagine playing Battle Brothers still in this day and age when it came out a million years ago.
Spoon got me into it.
Super good, man.
2 weeks ago. What do you want from me?
Well, tomorrow's Patreon meeting just be like all...
All right, we're back after the stream crashed again. I literally don't know what the fuck is causing this. It's happening every week now, but yeah, here we are again. We were just mocking clocks. Thanks for that sub, Grimdark James. Saw it coming from a mile away.
Gotta wait for the first crash today.
Oh,
all right,
well,
Arthur.
I appreciate that.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years since I've played this game.
Which game?
All right. Battle Brothers.
Okay.
What other fucking game are we talking about?
Listen, there was an OBS crash. I've converted my attention elsewhere.
You've got a good 45 hours on top of me in terms of playtime.
Yeah.
Okay. What reason would I have to go back to it after playing it initially when it first came out?
New DLC came out, Blazing Deserts. It adds a new late game system. They changed the perk tree significantly in order to account for, rather than trying to put Battleforged on all of your bros, they seriously want you to...
Blazing Deserts came out in 2020, my dude.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the patch a couple of weeks ago, or months ago, reset to allow for nimble supremacy. So rather than trying to take all the hits on maximum armor, it attempts to make you use medium and middle game armors to like dodge and finesse fight and things like that. Look, Dave, I don't need to sell you on a game you've already played. You've already played it. Why would I sell you to play it again?
Hang on, I originally bought it in 2017.
Okay.
And I played it when the Blazing Sands came out, which is in 2020.
Okay.
That was the last time I played it. They haven't added anything since then, I don't think, right? Like no new DLC?
Yeah, so there's no new DLC, but there have been a lot of...
Didn't they add that new DLC,
patches.
Faith and...
Oh, yeah, actually, yeah, correct.
They did.
Yeah, the Faith and...
Yeah, and they reset
there's a
the
new
perk tree during that.
Yeah,
oh, there's a free... It's free. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, there's some new... And like, I don't know how many new starts there were in the Blazing Deserts DLC.
The last one I played was Blazing Deserts, so yeah.
Yeah, well, so like, from back when I originally played, there was only the standard tutorial start.
Rebuild the company.
When I got back into it, there's like 8 to 10 different starts now that you can like.
Oh, I'm gonna do a cultist playthrough for sure, where you can only recruit cultists.
And like there's retinue, there's a.
I'm pretty sure I mean, from what I remember, that you pick an apocalypse, I think.
You don't have to pick it. It can be random.
A late game crisis, yeah.
There's an achievement for playing Iron Man and then playing long enough to do all 4 different crises types. One day I'm going to do that one. It's not going to be anytime soon.
Yeah.
But Iron Man is fucking brutal.
Yeah, I remember most of my playthroughs were spent being bandits. If I remember correctly, like it was very easy to
very
easy to get started into
I was
the
gonna crush your pathetic band. Hide in the woods. Use your fortifications. It will not stop the shield wall.
Today, tomorrow, most likely the day after, they'll arrive because they're so fucking slow.
Because they've been shot in the foot
and in the lung.
Look, man. I have to tell you, early surgeon pick It is brutal to do to your own company, but boy, does it allow them to survive. They will not die. They won't. They'll wish they were dead. But
So
they
for anyone
won't
who
die.
So for anyone who doesn't have any idea of what's happening right now, these guys are basically just having a slowpoke conversation. You know, like Battle Brothers was a big deal a long time ago, and they're finally getting around to it.
Look,
What do you
have you
want?
heard about?
Someone in the
Batman
community said
as
something
well.
about it. Connor Hughes back big spoon up. I jumped on it. Now
Bro,
Connor's
I
getting
told you
back
about
into
it.
it.
Like, I would have told you about this game a long time ago, and you're like, yeah, I've got to play my fucking Batman Forevers on my PlayStation 3.
What the
Okay, fucking
fuck?
Jesus Christ.
Because that's what was happening.
I've
back in
never played
2017.
Batman Forever. I've never. PlayStation 3 was the only PlayStation I never owned.
Look, man.
But still, that's how old this game is.
I'm
It
sorry,
is an old
Dave.
game. It
I'm
is.
sorry that I'm having fun. I'm sorry. I apologize deeply.
But it's good. It's
that
a
I'm
good game.
entertaining myself. It does everything I want out of an XCOM successor.
Yeah, no, it's I won't lie, it is a really good game. It was kind of one of those weird games that came around and it was like, at the time everyone was like, oh, this is a novelty, because it's like they took away all of like because you know there was games like it, but they took away like the difficulty on the art side, which was, hey, let's just make it little tokens.
Prison Architect.
Yeah, or whatever, right? Like, it was a very novel sort of thing to do.
It's little round dudes who bobble up and down like this. Like, hey, it's my turn.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's how I know his turn is. I look for the guy that's going like this.
Yeah, the JRPG Bob.
So a lot of the like development of the game skewed from the artistry over to like the mechanics side of things. So that's sort of the direction that one went in, and it worked. It worked. It's a good game. One of the few that have managed to survive.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
All right. Well, my talk about Battle Brothers was just supposed to be a throwaway comment, but here we are. It's.
I just want to let you know that Arthur is slow. And
I'm sorry. I like retro gaming.
yeah, it is retro, I guess. now.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I want
almost an
Dave
antique.
to just show up in like XQC's channel and be like, oh, playing Super Mario 64. What are you going to do? Next, you're going to pull out your Atari and play some Pong, old man? I can't believe you still enjoy this game.
Here's you assuming that I have
Jesus.
time to watch anyone play any video games.
Jesus.
If I'm gonna spend time watching people play video games, it's gonna be me watching myself play a video game, playing a video game. Okay.
Listen, Dave, people can enjoy classics. All right. Episode 1 Pod Racer. Syndicate.
Oh, Arthur, let me ask you this question. This is a weird question because this happened to me the other day. I had a friend who got into Critical Role, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he started going, like, because he found the animated TV show, and he's like, oh, watching D&D is fun, right? And he's like, oh, I've consumed all of the Critical Role stuff I wanted to consume. Now I want to go and look further for more stuff to find.
That's
then he-
literally impossible.
All the stuff he wanted to consume, right?
Okay, I was going to say,
yeah.
it is impossible for someone to have started watching Critical Role at the end of Legend of Vox Machina and have caught up on all 3 campaigns. There's
No.
just not enough. Even if he didn't sleep, there's not enough hours in the day.
Okay. Anyway, he
He watched
got
what he
tired
wanted
of
to.
Critical
Got it.
Role, and he went on to find other stuff. And then he organically found my stuff.
Yeah.
And he was surprised that I did it. And he
I
confronted me.
can't
and goes,
believe
hey,
I saw Henley in the
doing?
Hensicle channel.
What are you doing? How come you never told me you did this? And I was like, I don't know. Am I supposed to tell you? And he was just like, I was like, how did you find it? And he's just like, I don't know. I was just searching for Dungeons and Dragons, and your shit popped up like almost immediately afterwards. I'm like, okay, that's a little strange. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever had like someone find your shit?
No.
Like, oh, wow. Okay.
I tell people my real name on this show, but I've scrubbed my actual persona pretty cleanly from the internet after a stalker threatened to find my mother in real life. Pro tip, that's the day where I bought a gun. So I'm pretty clean on the internet. There's almost no real attachments. It's also the reason why I'll never go back to LinkedIn. Sorry, Dave, to end your cute story with the reality fairy showing up, and it's actually the Grim Reaper with the scythe.
So now I understand why you're playing all these analog games all the time. It makes sense now. Okay.
I got recognized for my podcast once in Kuala Lumpur.
Wow.
What the fuck?
That's interesting.
That actually happened to me as well. Like, were you recognized for your voice?
Yeah. Well, I mean, also the fact I was wearing a shirt with like the podcast name on it. But like,
okay,
they didn't think I was a fan. Like, oh, you must be James from the Grimdark podcast. So.
I remember when the Grimdark podcast got me in trouble because there was this guy that was like, "Hey, when's the podcast coming back?" And I'm like, I don't know. Why are you tweeting at me? I'm not the podcast.
Yeah. Hey, why is this thing that you're only tangentially related to? When is it coming back?
So I remember when I got called out in Woolworths in Melbourne for being on a podcast because some guy like heard my voice from the other side of the fucking shopping center somehow and ran over to find me and asked if I was in this fucking podcast. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, nice. And then he just went about his business. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
I have to tell you, Dave, the number of people who know I do this and the number of people who know me in real life is 3. I know all 3 of them because they're all my cousins.
So just so you know, David, if you ever come back to Australia, like to see your family again, I will fly down to Adelaide just to turn up in a Woolworths and yell like, "Hey, isn't that Dave that makes porn?"
Don't get me in too much trouble.
Porn.
Don't get me in too much trouble because it's illegal in Australia to do that now. So it's like, or a certain type at least. Anyway, so.
Yeah.
It's illegal in Australia to play RimWorld.
Whose intro is this, by the way?
It's no one's intro. No one had an intro yet. It's not even my intro. I was just saying I like Battle Brothers and then was going to pass it off. But listen, Dave wanted to drill down in there and be like, so you like old things, huh? What else do you like? Dinosaurs? The American Civil War?
How many fossils did you dig up in Battle Brothers, huh?
Steam engines?
I do like steam engines. That's true. Almost everything we use in the modern day is technically a steam engine.
Okay.
Oh boy, you've opened a can of worms.
What do you mean I've opened a can of? That's how nuclear power works. It's literally a fucking steam engine. Jesus.
So this
Christ.
is the spirit. This is the worms that I'm talking about.
Yeah, hang on. Let me
God.
just put him. Let me just close Pandora's box here.
Don't get me started on electrical engineering.
I'm sorry, the focus of over half my life has caused you a slight consternation.
Yeah, well, that's how we go.
You know what, Pondo? You studiously kept out of this. Why don't we jump over to you? What do you got going on?
Nothing much. I just been driving the past couple of days. Got a monitor and got a new computer, so I hadn't gotten her set up yet because I just got home for the show started.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Did you build? Are you building it, or you just bought a pre-built computer?
Pre-built. That was.
That's what I do it now.
Yeah, that was the easiest option. I mean, I could have built it, but I'd rather just get it pre-built than.
Yeah, well, and getting parts these days is so friggin' difficult. Like,
yeah,
it's actually easier.
I had to get
good parts in pre-built shit, right?
Yeah,
I had to get an SSD from Australia and deliver it.
Did you have to install it upside down?
No, not yet. It's still sitting on my desk.
Did you at least preload Total War before you played? Because apparently that helps.
What?
No, but actually we didn't fight any battles, so we only did like 2 loading screens, so we were good.
And they're both my fault because I kept saying, "Quick save here." No, I don't want to do that. Go back.
Yeah, he went. Takes these backsies.
That's about all I've been up to as of late, other than printing stuff on the 3D printer, and
Oh, are you happier now with that, or like are you still like buyer's remorse?
no, I mean I have an issue. It was Eric that was having all the issues.
it was
I was
Eric
trying to help him
Harris.
out.
Oh, it's Eric.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Pondo was the brains trust that was fixing it all.
Yeah,
I
kept those-
gave my 3D printer away yesterday, Pondo.
Oh,
So this wasn't. I
Gave
wasn't using it.
away.
I just wasn't using it anymore, and so when someone else was like, I want to get 3D printer, I'm like, here, have mine, because it's better that someone uses it. It's just sits here collecting dust.
yeah. Yeah, no, Eric was having all the troubles, and it was exactly what I thought his problems was in the end. I don't know
I'm
how
gonna
long
be
it
so
took him to
creative
actually-
when I buy this, and then like,
And then it's like, oh crap, it doesn't work. Damn it.
my creativity.
It's not like a laser printer where it just works. Like 3D printing is still a thing where you have to finagle it and get lots of bad prints before you finally work it out.
it's a lot of trial and error, and it helps if you have someone that has had a similar problem as you. You'd be like, this is probably your problem. There's all those other ones, but try this one first. This one's the easiest one, and you never tried that one first.
See, my mistake was when I bought my 3D printer, was a lot of my friends had bought them, but I decided to flex and buy the most expensive one I could. Just so I could say, hey, look, it's really cool one I got, but then I could never work out all the functions. Like, it was the only one among my various friends that had like dual color printing, like with 2 different extruders, but then that kept fucking up as well. So, and no one could ever fix that.
You're a little like me when it comes to electronics. Instead of getting like the entry level shit, I always go for like hobby, like the semi-professional shit every
hobby
single
grade.
time.
I don't think either of
And-
you should be allowed to buy printers, like actual real printers.
It's just
You're gonna end up with something you need a cart to move.
Like I buy a new printer every year because it's cheaper than replacing the cartridges now. They say. Let's go buy. I go to the local Office Works, which is like a Staples sort of, and I say I just want whatever you've got that is duplexing, color, laser, and then that's it.
When I used to work at Dick Smith's, that's how I used to sell printers. Basically, I'd convince people who are coming in who are buying printer cartridges, I'd be like, look, man, it's just cheaper if you buy a new printer. Trust me on this. Commission was
It's
good.
true for most printers, yes.
Mission was good. Oh my god.
That is true for most
Did
printers.
you at least
yes.
sell extended warranties as well, Dave?
Of course, but I wouldn't force them on people because I honestly didn't care that much about that shit. Like I was just getting through college, man. Getting through college.
Okay. Got anything else, Pondo?
No, I don't. Oh my God. I mean, except for I started Battle Bros, but I think we've already went into detail.
Oh,
Yeah.
you mean the game that released in 2017?
Yeah.
Jeez, let's listen to this guy over here. Okay.
I had just started and got the tutorial. I found out that it's very fucking brutal, and it really doesn't tell you anything, even when you have the tutorial on.
Yeah, it's not a game that holds your hand, man.
So for all those gentlemen here that like that game, you should check out a game called Stone Shard.
I played Stone Shard. It's also tons of fun. It's also super fucking brutal.
Yeah, it is. And there's another one called like Orc Barbarian or something like that. Hang on, I'll see if I can find the name for it. But
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, Stone Shard is also.
I'm not specifically
really fun.
looking for brutality, by the way. I'm a non-Dark Souls player, all right?
Sure.
I don't
No,
need
it's-
to
it's-
suffer to enjoy a game because I don't
it's
enjoy
not about
suffering.
It's about the cohesion of mechanics that make up those particular games that come
I
together.
want to
nicely,
imagine
so.
an alternate universe where Dave said, it's not about suffering, it's about art.
No,
Come on.
so
The only video game that's art is like
Okami.
Dear Esther. That's Okami. Yeah, that's pretty close.
I
But
came
that's
up
got
with that literally off the top of my head. Braid,
that's got,
there's
like,
so
video
many
game
video games you
mechanics.
could consider as art. Metal Gear Solid has a very solid message that it attempts to tell. Actually, several messages behind a coherent narrative could
I
easily
tend to
be
think-
considered art.
I tend to think any game that has some sort of wall in it can't be considered art. Like if there is a Okay, hear me out on this. Like, art is
No Man's
generally a
Sky. Elite Dangerous.
Art is generally a passive thing, right? Like something that
Disagree.
you can look at from any angles and come away from it with any sort of perspective that you want. And a game where you have to engage in a particular mechanic to overcome a hurdle is literally game design. Like it's a function that's made to derive enjoyment or derive some sort of like engagement from the player.
No, I disagree with this. I mean, that just your description automatically discounts some of the more modern artworks like flash mobs and shit. It's not a passive effort at all. Art can be entirely active and temporary, passing, ephemeral.
Would you consider then something like Dark Souls or anything along those lines, like the more difficult aspects of video games?
I have no
to be
idea.
considered
I've
art?
never played Dark Souls to any.
Okay, would you
reasonable
consider
degree.
Battle Brothers to be a piece of art?
Would I consider Battle Brothers to be a piece of art? I'll consider my upcoming narrated campaign of it to have been a work of art, where I show my masterful tactics.
You're making like a piece of medium that was designed to be engaging, to be a passive piece of media.
Artwork itself is also subjective, so the question of what is art is literally the driving force behind the entirety of the first season of Daredevil.
But when people make games to be art, right? When people make like, oh, it's an art piece, it's generally not a mechanics-driven game.
My Dear Esther or any of those FMV games.
Walking simulators, etc.
Walking simulator. Untitled Goose Game is it art?
Yes. On the subject of game design, Dave, last night I spent an hour of my life getting through a bugged quest in the Old Republic, which has been acknowledged by the developer as bugged for over 4 months, but not fixed yet. And it's like, it's the game cannot continue until you get past this quest sort of thing. And they've just left it unpatched. And their only solution is, we acknowledge it's too hard, get a friend to help you. And I still did it on my own, but it took me like an hour, even though it's like solo content.
My favorite bug of all time is a game called Sacred. Sacred Gold, or whatever. And there was
you damage them, you take more and more cards out of the deck, so their next action becomes more and more predictable. But whenever they draw their last card, you take whatever cards they had. And is it OBS crashed?
Yeah, but it's back now.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So whenever they draw the last card, you take the cards they've got, shove them back in and start the deck again, which means if they've only got one card left, that card just keeps repeating, goes back into the deck every time. And because there was a card called Kick, where the cards rules say do X many damage and then draw another card, which technically you'd have to then draw the same card and then draw the same card and then draw the same card. And people are like, okay, well, it's an infinite loop, so you need to fix it, game developers. And the game developers came back and said, here, we fixed it. And all they did was they released a fact which said change the name of the card to Infinite Kick.
Yeah, I mean, look, that entire game is literally just like, what if the entire world hated you and you had to grind constantly? Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's broken. It's just like, who cares? It's a board game, right? Like,
I didn't have much fun playing that board game. I remember doing it. It was kind of,
it was an interesting experience. Yeah.
Dunking on Kingdom Death Monsters is actually more fun than Kingdom Death Monsters. I'll never forget when this fellow named EQMag was like, Kingdom Death Monsters. And I was like, oh, that game that's about like big titty waifus. And he's like, no, that's not it. And I went to Google, I typed Kingdom Death Monsters. First image is literally a busty woman named Satan. Took a picture.
I remember this conversation.
All of them. It was like 3 different images. They were all. I was just like, "You're wrong. This is what people think of when they think of Kingdom Death Monsters."
Kingdom Death Monsters was a game designed for Kickstarter to sell miniatures.
Yeah, that's certainly true. All right, Spoon. Let's do your intro. You're muted. So let's
Battle Brothers.
Oh, you mean that game that released in 2017?
2017, yes, 2017, yes. No, so I also have been playing some Battle Brothers, but one of the things we did the other night was we finished up our Rotten and Kislev campaign, which was
I've never seen James that angry before.
Well, that's James got screwed, man. Like James got cheesed.
Imagine losing 3 armies to 2 armies.
Yeah, twice.
And being able to do nothing about it.
Yeah, like literally, like he got cheesed by mechanics. So, but it turns out it was a Xanatos gambit and it worked. So. That was James' plan.
That was not a Xanatos gambit.
I mean,
Xanatos gambit requires you to be in control of the situation.
Does it?
Yes.
Or is the gambit that you're not in control of the situation?
No, what you're designing is just a Kansas City shuffle. Is what you're describing. Xanatos gambit requires every negative outcome to be in your favor. Yeah, not just, oh shit, I can't believe that actually worked.
Let's see. What else has been going on? I just ordered a bunch of new BattleTech minis. So they also came out with their like roadmap, I guess. I don't really know what to call it, but like the future of BattleTech. And it's basically kind of what I expected. They're going to be putting out a bunch of mercenary lances, milking the 3025 to 3052 content for all that it's worth. But I'm here for it. So
they figured out
isn't that
where
like their peak years?
Yeah.
Yeah, for
absolutely.
sure. Like that's BattleTech's like big money years is 3025 to 3052.
3052 is Clan Invasion, and that's its most popular over the general community.
Yeah, for all like the hate that the clans get, like they were the like big time sellers of BattleTech.
Let's say
Clip that,
usually
please.
usually the conversations I see is people who don't like 3052 are 3025 fans, and people who don't like 3025 fans are 3052 fans. So it's like,
I'll tell you what I don't like: the jihad.
You know, I really wish that I could make a piece of media that would be like that would create sub factions within itself of people that hate each other.
Yeah,
I would love that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like I've created this cursed piece of media that everyone loves but hates each other. Like, that would be so good. Oh man, I would love that.
Because
fuck, Dave.
Like 3025 people are like, oh, the Helm memory core stuff ruined the game. Exactly. It unbalanced it, and it's like, oh my god. Okay, guys, like.
Yeah, well, you're just a traditionalist that doesn't like to move forward with modern techniques.
Dave, you're just going to put like 2 characters into one of your games that are like that each individually cater to like one very distinct group of people that the other group of people would distinctly hate.
Here's how you do it, right? Here's how you do it, right? First, you make a game with childhood friends, and then you make that same game also have NTI elements.
You have the secret source, Dave. What's stopping you?
That's really fucked up. If you want to do it in a tabletop RPG, the easiest way to do it is when players arrive in a new city, indicate that there is currently an ongoing discussion as to whether you put the butter on the upside or downside of the toast.
The Imperials or the Stormcloaks, right?
And they're all idiots. But sure.
Are we like are we toasting on like a pan or a griddle?
No, it's the bread. Do you not know about the butter battle book?
No, I don't.
You don't know about the butter battle? It's a Dr. Seuss book. You don't.
Okay. Maybe I did at one point. I just don't remember it at all.
This looks like a man who reads children's books. Come on now.
I mean,
listen, I read Cat
you don't have to read Dr. Seuss anymore. There are people on the internet who will professionally rap it to Dr. Dre tracks.
Yes. It gets old after a little bit, I'll be honest.
It does not get old. It's fucking amazing. Every single time it's fresh and crisp, just like those stray beats. How dare you, sir?
I
you.
dare. I dare so hard.
But so that was let's see, anything else going on? I watched the D&D Direct thing today. I was a little bit behind the times with that.
Is this the spell weaver shit or whatever?
So it was like so like not only did Catalyst Game Labs release their like roadmap for their game, but Wizards of the Coast were like, hey, this is what's coming up in 2020 and beyond with D&D Direct.
They're finally, I think this is the first time D&D has an official actual play series. Mm-hmm. They're doing Legends of the Multiverse, and they're basically just like, we're going to get all of the top people you like from actual plays, and we're going to put them in one actual play.
Yeah, at least thank God that Adam Koval's not in that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Travis playing, McElroy, Deborah Ann Wall, B. Dave Walters.
Yeah.
Abria Ironguard, Ginny D. Yeah, I mean, they basically just skim the top of people who played D&D. I wouldn't be surprised to hear Hannah Prosser was in it.
I'm looking forward to seeing what ProZD comes up for his like plasmoid gangster looking guy.
Oh my god, dude! This is, you could just play Lysander off. That's all it needs to be. Just, this world is imperfect.
Oh my god!
Play the guy who's obviously going to be the villain in episode 7.
if he shows up with a fucking monocle,
and it goes, this is, I guess this series have finally begun.
Oh man! But and then they dropped a Dragonlance teaser at the end of it that looked really interesting.
Nah, Spelljammer, that's where it's at.
Actually, you say about that because I don't read anything to do with D&D anymore, right? Like, I just don't have the time for it. But I got inundated with the amount of people just coming to me, hey, Dave, Spelljammers. I'm like, the fuck is Spelljammers? Why would I give a shit about Spelljammers? Like, no, really, you need to care about Spelljammers.
Here's why Spelljammers matters, because you can literally just be like, oh, you don't like the genre that we're currently in? Well, now we're going to go to fucking Ravenloft. Oh, you don't like horror? Well, guess what? Now we're going to fucking Twilight Sparkle Land. You could just get on your boat, travel past some drow space pirates, and arrive at a new giant alchemist jar with a cork on it, pull the cork off, and fly down into it.
Spelljammers is those medieval Renaissance people that show up as like Star Trek characters.
No, Spelljammers are a nautical vessel that travel between worlds in D&D. They're basically one step below planeswalkers. They're like wizards who are really powerful and drive the boat, but they're not powerful to planeswalk yet. So they're like, oh, we're like the B+ players. We are the triple H of wizards.
They need the keel. The Spelljamming keel is the magic item that allows the boat to travel between dimensions. Yeah.
Right.
So Spelljammer players are the equivalent of those guys that have their Facebook photo as their car.
No. You have to be in your car with dark sunglasses and a hat on.
Yeah.
He wasn't far off though. That's the painful part.
See, in Spelljammer, it's not necessarily that you control the boat, but that you travel on someone's as they transport you places. You can be in control of the boat, but like any open world D&D adventure, you will cause your GM to go, my God, I hope they go to the Nexus tonight. Not another side quest.
It was Spelljammer that first brought psychic powers into D&D. And that's when they had whole psychic classes like, I'm a level 16 psychometabolicist.
Crystal Warrior.
Yeah.
I'm a level 27 Wookiee Doctor.
Well, Star Wars doesn't do levels 1 and 2. Don't invoke the name of Wookiee Doctor unless you're ready to taste some pain.
excuse me, Star Wars, the D20 version did levels. Thanks very much. Star Wars,
in FFG,
OCR and
in that
RCR.
version, you wouldn't want to play a
Saga.
Wookiee Doctor because Wookiee Doctors don't get the bonuses that Wookiees get in FFG Star Wars.
Man, I need to play a Star Wars game again. Every day I wake up thinking about it.
Listen, Dave, we're talking about having you and Pondo guest star on the Secret Star Wars game.
Ooh.
I was thinking you guys might come in like Han and Chewie or like Dash Rendar and whoever his sidekick is. I assume you guys will.
IG-88 and Dash Render.
IG-88 is his sidekick? Really?
It's some. It looked like the.
But it's an assassin droid.
It looked like the droid that was in
droid.
KOTOR. The one that was calling everyone meatbags. I forget what it was called.
HK-47?
Yeah.
It looks like a HK-47 unit, but it's not the HK-47 unit.
That's fine.
Lebo
Is that his name?
is his droid, yeah.
Okay.
And he's
Dash
he's like a mashup of like a HK-47 and then like the medical droid on Hoth.
I see.
What was the game that you played on Arthur's channel, Pondo, where you were playing? It was a fantasy game and you were trying to sell refrigeration.
Oh Jesus! He and Sid showed up, and they had both done character creation with the sole purpose of creating metal boxes and putting ice in it. But they forgot to mention that it wasn't infinitely generating ice. You would have to come back and buy the ice from them every week. Oh,
was a great scam.
God, it was the art game with Connor and the rest of the artists.
Okay, yeah, but it was a great buddy comedy though. So
Shit was.
I'm glad someone was amused by it. I was not.
That was the most inefficient barbarian build I ever made.
It certainly was a interesting use of character creation, and probably the first time I've ever seen two players work together so well during character creation. And then never heard from either of them again.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect one-shot characters. It's what was it called? Fuck.
Don't ask me. I just ran the game.
Channel that if you're gonna come into Star Wars. We need that sort of buddy action going on.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm reading now that Dash Render was made canon by the Solo movie.
Oh God.
Was he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Nice, Disney.
But
Jerry.
So I thought the Dragonlance like stinger at the end of the D&D Direct thing. They got Show Ray, the actress who does Christian Avasarala in The Expanse. She did the voiceover, which was fucking dope. But it looks like it's a very interesting take on Dragonlance from what they showed in the trailer. Like, because like I have like memories of Dragonlance being a super high fantasy, like high magic setting, and this seems like they're taking it in a slightly different direction. So
that's because Chris Perkins doesn't do super high fantasy. He does.
Yeah.
All right, Pat. You have the Apocalypse Dagger. If you roll a 1 while you attack with it, you erase the entire Wizards of the Coast D&D universe.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it for me for this week. I just watched Hillbilly versus Primo earlier today.
Oh, for Solaris Knights.
Yeah, which was lots of rotary autocannon action.
Is he elimination
Yes.
now from this point onwards? Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, if you lose, you're out.
Yeah, if you die in the game, you remain alive as long as your natural life continues.
So I've got like the most unpredictable opponent at the moment, which is Varen.
Baron, yeah, well.
No, hey, you could say if you die in the game, you die in real life eventually.
Yeah. At some point, you will die in real life.
I mean, as a skeptic myself and as a student of Carneades, I can't say that because we're achieving even great. What is being alive, really?
You been spoons, Arthur?
Do I bend spoons?
Yeah.
You mean literally or figuratively?
Isn't that what skeptics do? Is they demonstrate the spoon bending thing? Every time I've met groups of skeptics, they're always demonstrating the spoon bending thing.
What if tomorrow we develop a technology that allows us to upload our minds to a virtual box, allowing our essence to continue for all of eternity? In that case, what is being alive?
There'll be people complaining on Facebook about how it didn't work for them.
Turn it off and turn it back on again. Check to make sure you've got the right plug.
Pretty sure my brain did not upload to the internet because I'm still in my body, okay? Jesus Christ.
Somo, we're still doing that, huh? But that's the thing. If you do that upload, does your body remain alive? And if not, then you have, in fact, technically died. This has been a talk by Carneades. Thank you very much. Yeah. Question everything.
Well, didn't in the game they have like a device that like when you upload it like kills you as well and like or something?
Yes.
So they can only ever be like
about,
one.
The end of Cyberpunk 2077.
Also true.
That's why, like, whenever in the news they say that somebody died of cardiovascular failure, it's like everybody dies of cardiovascular failure. That's the definition of death.
Listen, I've always told people I'm a very strong person. Loss of blood is, in fact, my only weakness. Once my blood stops flowing, I'm done. That's it. People ask me in job interviews, what's your greatest weakness? Loss of blood.
Lack of oxygen and loss of blood.
I'm disturbingly mortal.
Listen, I answered that once because I'd seen it on like a Twitter post or something. It was a really smart alecky answer, and of course I didn't get the job, but it was like, my greatest weakness is that one day I'll grow old and all of my memories will begin to fade. The skills which I acquire working at your company will slowly become less and less useful as my dexterity fails me. And then I'll die, taking with me all of my... Oh God, what's the term again? Institutional knowledge. I did not get that job, but I didn't think I really wanted it at the time either. It was mostly just trolling.
Mm. I could see how your vast tomes of Battle Brothers knowledge would be useful to the next generation.
Yeah.
Considering the game came out in 2017.
Jesus. Henley, just do your fucking intro already. Holy shit.
Hey, I'm making games. I don't know. I'm doing a Kickstarter pretty soon. The guys here have probably seen it. I've been throwing around a URL for people to look at. It's, I will say it's very nerve-wracking to put together something like that, because once it's live, you just kind of have to sit there and be like, yeah, you know. So I'm trying to get it perfect before we go live. So, yeah, that's pretty much all that I've been going on. I mean, you know,
as a student of Carneades, I have to ask, what causes a game to go live? What is live?
When
don't indulge in Dave. Don't indulge
more money.
Don't feed the trolls.
I mean, the answer to that question is pretty simple. I release a game when I need to require more currency.
I understand. Yes,
because I can continue working on games forever.
The Fast and the Furious conundrum. I understand.
How long do I wait before it's functional enough to receive money? Right, like that's sort of the modern game development. If there was like if we went back to the stage where you could only release a game in a single state and never update it ever again, game developers would probably work harder.
Yeah, you know, and they would probably compress their data a hell of a lot fucking more.
Well, I mean, like, imagine, like, okay, even if it was like you had like the same download services and all that sort of stuff, but like Steam was like, okay, you get one release and you can never update it ever again, right?
Get one shot, one opportunity. Yeah,
exactly. Games would probably be remaster. Games would probably be a lot more like thought about in better ways, I think.
Chad is talking about DOS games, man. Let me tell you about this thing called the PlayStation 1, where Final Fantasy VII had to be painstakingly chopped together. Man, play that shit in debug mode. It's insane. Anything before a stable internet connection where you couldn't patch it, those games had to be tested to all fucking hell. And any bugs,
or they're not tested. Like,
yeah, okay, all right. And they're just nightmare. But we don't remember the games that were extremely shitty and bad. Like
well,
that.
I mean, you got to ask people who were like adults at that time and being gamers at that time, right? Like, because for me, when I played
huge
those
lists of like old games.
But how many of those?
We almost
are just
crashed.
like?
We survived.
How many of those games are you like? Oh yeah, no, I played it as a kid because that's all I had, and I have fond memories of it. Right? Like, I bet
Bro,
if
there were
someone
only
was
like 40 JRPGs for the NES. Okay. When we were kids, there were not a lot of games compared to nowadays.
Those JRPGs, you could argue like, yeah, no, we just made them super long because JRPG was also like the quality bar was how long you played it for.
They were not
right?
super long. They were Legend. You can beat Legend of Zelda in like one day.
That is not a JRPG, my dude.
It is. Name one reason why it isn't.
Because it's an adventure game, not a fucking
still
like,
made in Japan, and you're playing a role. You play Link.
Oh my god, dude. Yeah, okay. By that definition,
it's a definition of what a role-playing
everything
game
is an RPG. By that definition,
If you
a
play
JRPG
online
is like
poker,
Final
it's
Fantasy.
not an RPG.
You're playing a role, Arthur. You're a guy at a table playing
guy
poker.
at a table. That's not a role.
Yeah, it is. Everything's a fucking role.
Hollywood wouldn't consider that a role.
Yeah, they would. They would be like, "All right, you play nameless poker guy that loses." Yeah, that's your role. Congratulations, you made it, son. Like,
Guy with gambling addiction, yeah, that's a role.
yeah, that's real, definitely. I put that on my IMDb. Come on now.
One movie starred that with Mark Wahlberg. I can't remember the name of the movie.
There was a push to update tabletop RPG actual plays on IMDb. Boy, that will be very amusing if that ever happens.
Yeah, I got entitled for 900 episodes of Dark Dungeon Explorers. And I played 17 characters. Stupid. Anyway, I'm ready to play. So,
all right, Grimdark James, what do you got? How's your week been?
I'm going to actually start with a rant, I'm afraid. And they say that a person with a good customer service experience tells 2 people, and a person with a bad one tells 10. I think we've only got 3 people watching though. So Gunny, Wooden Monkey, God, Hushin, you got to go tell this to 2 or 3 other people yourself so that it gets out there.
First off, we have 15 viewers right now. So you know what? You did.
I'm going on chat responders, not bots here. So,
oh, you're not just hurting me. You're hurting the people who don't chat but still like to watch. You've just offended 4/5 of the audience.
And the subsequent
Holy
YouTube
shit,
viewers
James.
as well.
Oh my god! All right. Wow, you're on a fucking roll. Go.
So if you remove all of the people in this discussion right now in the Zoom meeting, and all of the people who are actually chatting, it's like 3 people. Okay.
No, you're still got half the people remaining. Okay, go.
So to all those people I recommended the Oculus Quest 2 to in the past, I take it all back. I've had a terrible experience with it, and it's dead to me now.
Can I guess? Can I guess what it is?
Have a go. Yep.
Okay. Something went wrong with your user account, or you had to sell it or something.
No. So what happened was when I was in a hotel about to go to America, it installed a new update, and the new update forced me to go from having a PIN code to having like an Android style pattern. And I set the pattern, and the next time I went to use it, it wasn't accepting my pattern. This is the pattern is incorrect. So there's an option to say I forgot pattern, in which case it tells you just go through these steps to reset the pattern. And I looked on the website, same instructions as well. Only problem is that it tells you to go to the phone app, connect it to the device and say disable pattern. But when you connect to the device on the phone app, it asks you for the current pattern. And a quick bit of Googling has told me this has been a problem for 4 years since they first brought the pattern in. And if you forget the pattern, the only option is a full hardware reset of the Oculus. And of course, I went to Oculus support and said, hey, my pattern number is not working now. When I go to forget pattern, it tells me to do these things, but it asked me for the pattern in order to reset the pattern. What can I do? And they're like, oh, no worries, we'll help you out. Easy. Just reset the whole device back to factory standard. I'm like, I don't want to reset the whole device because I lose all my stuff then. I mean, I can re-download the games, but there's no cloud save in Oculus, so I lose all my progress. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh yeah, I understand how you feel. I feel badly too. You will have to reset the whole device though, So I just like, fuck it. This is a waste of time. I was on like live chat and I'm like, what a piece of shit product, terrible support, And then like I suddenly got an email like 2 days later saying, oh, we noticed you had some, a support inquiry with Oculus and it didn't look like it was solved. Do you have any further inquiries or, if we don't hear back from you within 2 days, we'll close this ticket, So I replied back with, look, I have to wait until you fix the problem's been out for 4 years. Otherwise, my device is a expensive brick, because I'm not going to lose all my data while waiting you to fix the problem. And I got back, we're sorry, your ticket's already been closed. If you want to have a new ticket, here's where to go to. So,
man.
Oh yeah, Facebook. So Meta can go eat a dick. Over the Quest.
Unfortunately, there's not really a lot of virtual reality that fits within a consumer-friendly price bracket that isn't the Quest, right? Like, because it's like, hey, do you want to have a nice VR experience, or do you want to buy a 3D printer? That's basically your options, right? Like.
That's it. All right, but rant done. This week I went to the opera. I took my wife to watch the Phantom of the. Well, sorry, I guess the Phantom of the Opera is not an opera; it's a musical about an opera. But it was done on Sydney Harbour, outdoors with a view of like the Harbour Bridge and the Opera House. But unfortunately, we've had some unseasonable rain here, so we've probably got about 30 minutes of really heavy driving rain during the 2-hour 50. Performance where everyone in the audience are getting soaked, all the actors are getting soaked. Look, it was still good. Like obviously it's a well done opera. I've seen it before. It's my wife's favorite, but it did take a bit of the edge off the night, or a bit of the fun off the night was sitting there in the rain, the driving rain, and the rest of the time there was still like some small showers the rest of the time, but it was just that 30 minutes of just solid, heavy rain.
Was it at least during a dramatically appropriate moment?
So there was one scene that the rain enhanced, the very first scene with the Phantom, because he was wearing like a long coat. And every time he turned, the bottom of the coat would like flare out and all the water would like, swing out in a circle around him and such. It looked pretty cool. But yeah, other than that,
the other 25 minutes of driving rain was pretty awful.
Yeah, so I really feel sorry for the actors who are trying to like do normal talking scenes, or dancing scenes, or singing scenes in like heavy rain. So, but it's par for the course when you do outdoor opera, I guess. They're an all weather production, so that's what you get. I also finished WWE 2K22 My GM on hard mode this week. Although, so after finishing that, I finished a game with my 10-year-old son who beat me. So obviously my 10-year-old son is harder than hard mode. And I've noticed that people on YouTube have started to try and do, okay, I beat hard mode. Now I'm going to try beating hard mode using just female wrestlers or using just jobbers, or the like, to try and increase the risk, I guess, or the threat.
John Cena and brute force only.
You're gonna have 8 people or such, so it's the minimum. But I also posted on Arthur's Discord, I went and played in a 40K tournament last weekend for the first time in forever, and didn't do too badly, except for the fact that I lost one.
Why don't you roll back to a previous version of OBS?
I don't know. All right, that would be a great thing, except that you can't roll back right now because the previous version is before the latest Twitch update. Friends, let me say before we see James's Space Wolf, 1, thank you for joining us through yet another crash, and 2, thank you to doubling our number of chatters to spite Grimdark James. Spite is the favorite activity of me, so I really appreciate it.
I increased your,
Don't try
engagement.
don't try to claim your passive aggressive reverse psychology mind games. Never taunt the audience.
So I was just saying that I finished my stall, so I hadn't finished from the
Enhanced Quadrant 2.
There you go. Game last week, so at least that's done now. What else? I also uploaded another video just this morning about my crusades. My penultimate Space Wolf video has now got up on my YouTube channel. I started a Blades in the Dark game on Friday, so I'd asked about it on Arthur's channel, and I managed to get a copy of the book. And we did a session 0, so like we made the crew, made characters. This is my old Numenera group. They're pretty keen to give it a go, and I did.
Numenera to Blades seems like a pretty good jump, I think.
Yeah, well, once again, 2 games where only the players ever roll, for example.
Yeah.
One of the players she's very anti Powered by the Apocalypse, which Blades feels very similar, but she seems to be okay with Blades.
She sounds like someone right after my heart. I'm also very anti Powered by the Apocalypse.
I like Powered by the Apocalypse for like one-shot games or like content.
Yeah, exactly. There is no growth in those games, which is my biggest problem with them. And Blades kind of, at least from what I remember, has the same sort of problem where like you get to a certain point where you're just like, well, my character's there's a mixture between being God and also being forced to manually retire my character. It's like, yeah.
But I also did load up to play again the original Dishonored, inspired by Blades. So Dave, do you want to have a go at me for playing a 2011 game?
No, that one's fine. Blades is fine. I just don't want you coming in here and being all like, yo, I'm playing this brand new game, Battle Brothers. That's what got me.
I mean, I was surprised at how dated Dishonored felt like playing it again, just like the graphics of the original one. It's like, oh wow, this really does feel like, I mean, it's not quite Doom, but it's certainly it's not the latest stuff, obviously.
So you were saying that it's aged poorly? Dishonored? Yeah.
Just from a graphical perspective, like it's obviously now looks like an old game.
Really?
Still
okay.
Yeah. I mean, the content of the game's still good. It's just it looks like, for example, Skyrim is a game I would say has dated well. Like Skyrim still looks impressive, and Skyrim's a similar age to Dishonored, but Dishonored it just looks like it's last gen. See, so I've been
I think so.
Okay, Skyrim came out
2011.
All I can think of
2011.
It came out on 11/11/11.
Yep.
Is all the Skyrim mods that just add like updated character models and updated walking and.
I've got my new favorite
came
Skyrim.
out in 2012. Okay.
Yeah, my favorite Skyrim mod I found it's called Instant Heart Attack, where at random your character suddenly dies of a heart attack.
My favorite is
I don't know who thought these things. I was like, you know what this game needs is the threat of instant death.
Just like if there's just a 1 in the string of zeros, heart attack.
Lazy Lydia mod that changes all of Lydia's voice lines to whenever she would say something, she says instead, "I'm sworn to carry your burdens." Fucking love it. It's incredible.
Shit. So the only other thing for me is that my wife has managed to reorganize the nurses D&D game that I ran a couple of times like months ago. Suddenly the nurses have all their schedules have suddenly lined up on one day, and so
finally
on that day,
that image works again. I'm a healer, but
there is no cleric in that group, so
I understand why they're tired. Of it.
They're all clerics in their real day-to-day lives. So
there's a druid, doesn't have any healing spells. Paladin doesn't have lay on hands.
Smites.
Chop their hands off.
Yeah.
No, we've got We've got a rogue, an artificer, and a warlock.
Artificer. Oh my
Here's the
God.
thing about artificer. I've always wanted
and a ranger. Sorry, yeah.
I've always wanted an artificer to be like the guy from Shadow and Bone, who's like, all right, we're going to have a crime, but also a heist, a crime heist. Here's where I lay out the plan. We're going to need the following 4 things. And I'm just like, I want an artificer who plays like that, and not a dude who's like, oh, I've invented a gun. Oh, this is great. Because that's every artificer I've ever known has been like, I invented guns. I
What's
want
the
one
goat
who's
for?
like, I'm a thief, and I have crazy inventions to do the thievings with.
What's the goat for, Arthur?
What is the
You'll see in the 3rd act.
Yeah. So Pathfinder's asked a question in chat about the heart attack mod, and I just want to quickly close this loop because I find the answer even funnier. There didn't program any animations. There is no clutching the chest. Literally, just the screen goes to like you died. You died. You had a heart attack and died. Click continue. It takes you to the credits. That's it. There is no the character doesn't even fall over. It's just it goes to like the menu blurred background and says you had a heart attack and died. That was all the effort the creator was willing to put in, I guess.
And then you have to wait through the intro animation every time that you wake up.
Hey,
again.
you're finally awake.
Best mod ever added was the one that skipped all that shit.
I watched a video recently that was I can't remember which. It was a YouTube channel that does talks about role playing game stuff, and they compared the intro of Skyrim to the intro of the Knights of the Old Republic, the original single player Xbox game, saying about how what Skyrim.
You mean that 3-hour fucking annoying mission?
Well, what they're saying is the fact that the both games start off in the action. Like in Skyrim, you're running for the dragon through Helgen. In Knights of the Republic, you're trying to escape from the ship with what's it, Traskolga, whatever his name is. And in both cases, they give you this sort of, this is who you are. This is where the threat is. This is what you have to do to avoid the threat. Like those 3 main questions are answered, and then you just play, and the game fills in the rest of the story as you go along. The only difference is that Skyrim doesn't get to that until 7 minutes of vast, world building exposition. This is what Nords are like. This is what they think like. This is what the cities look like. And that if Skyrim had just started with your character on the block, about to be executed for reasons unknown, and suddenly a dragon appeared, it would be just as effective at setting the tone for the game. So it was just going from the point of view from a role playing game. If you want to start in media ray, make sure you sort of answer those questions early and then move on. But
are you implying that the Knights of the Old Republic tutorial mission was good?
Well, he was saying it was a good launching point from a story perspective.
Okay. From a narrative perspective, yes. All right. Yeah. I seem to remember that tutorial mission being several hours too long, and
no, look, it's fine. It's fine the first time.
Are you talking about on? Are you talking about the part? Okay.
Yeah, when you're on the ship. And you have to escape the ship, and it happens in both games, first one and the second one.
Yeah,
the first one you're only there for maybe 40 minutes at most if you go slow.
No, it was long, dude.
I'm thinking of the same mission that you're talking about. No.
Yeah, but no, I think Dave's probably including the whole
the planet
through. Like Tara, so until you get a ship, until you get the freedom of movement, where you're on a theme park, we're on a roller coaster basically. That's what the first game. It takes a long time to get from the very start to when you now have the ability to go.
That can be excused, I guess. It's a product of its time, right? In a lot of cases.
Yeah, and look, and it was fun the first time. It's just every time you load the game to play it again, which I've played the game multiple times. I've got to get through fucking Endar Spire and Taras before I get to actually start doing fun stuff.
One of the best mods for that game is oh yeah, I'm a Jedi from the beginning.
Yeah, I know the mod.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to clip it, Arthur? That's my intro done. No, you can't because of all the OBS crashing.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, okay. Should we just intro another half an hour?